On Halftime Report, I'm Manglam Malu. With me as always, Sonia Shinoy as well as Ekta Batra. Now, the way the markets have panned out so far depends on how you look at it. If you look at it from Friday's close, yes, we are down in today's trading session by almost 230 points on the Nifty. But if you just take a look at from the open itself, we've recovered a good 170 points. So that speaks about the resilience that we have in our markets, despite the sort of weakness that we're seeing in the global situation itself. We started the day with almost 140 stocks advancing, and now that number has moved around 750. So broader markets are showing signs of resilience, notwithstanding the pressure that we're seeing from the global markets.
Absolutely. And I think a 164-point recovery is what we're seeing from the lows. So not bad really for the market. If you'd have to look at it, we are down but not out. It was in any case expected to be a weak opening. But for now, we have lots on our radar this morning or this afternoon, you want to call it. First up, we have City Union Bank, which is the stock that we're looking at. According to news reports, the RBI inspection report obtained under RTI reveals that there have been poor management and high-risk loans from senior officials to the top executives without following any of the RBI guidelines. N. Kamakodi, who's the MD and CEO of City Union Bank, joins us now. Mr. Kamakodi, good afternoon. There are many allegations that the RTI report speaks about. One is, of course, poor management control, sanctioning of high-risk loans from senior officials to top executives without following any of the RBI guidelines. Proposals to the tune of almost 1,600 crores was sanctioned. I just wanted to understand all these flaws. I mean, what is your response to it? How much of it is fact? How much of it is, unwarranted?
Yeah. Thank you, Sonia. Good that you asked. So I have to give you the first and summary substance is that what I want to convey is that all the points mentioned in these reports, which are already out in the public domain, have been satisfactorily addressed, and there is no pending issue. This is something which I want to assure you and which I want to tell you. Before going further, I just want to tell you how the entire process works. The matters, whatever that is given, are taken out of context, and they are, given, and they are misleading headlines, probably make people to make weird conclusions and all. But actually, how it happens, every year you have RBI inspection. The inspection document is a sacred document exchanged between the RBI and the bank, and it is not usually it was not meant for the public consumption. And it used to give all the major observations, minor observations, and also points where there are, deviations from the prescribed guidelines. Everything is given, and the discussions subsequently happens. Each and every point is discussed between, RBI and the bank, and the points are taken out only after a satisfactory explanation is given by the bank, and individual things are, looked into. Then there will be few, residual points for which we have to give complaints and all. So each and every point is meticulously followed, and it is conveyed, and this is something which I wanted to give. And on the 3 reports which are already published, there is not even a single outstanding point which is, pending for complaints or whatever that I want to give.
Okay.
And another thing what you have to understand is that there is no material, new information which is available. In fact, you could have clearly seen over there, there is the divergence are well within the tolerance limit set by the regulator, and those things are also already available on the public domain, and no impact to the P&L at all. Because
Kamakodi, we take that, Mr. Kamakodi,
over there.
Mr. Kamakodi, we take those points. Yes,
let me
go
complete.
ahead.
Let me complete. After that, you can ask questions. And the capital adequacy ratio is also given over there. And there is absolutely nothing which is pending out of this report. This is the first report which is given, and after which each and every point there is a satisfactory exchange of opinions and clarifications which are given. And whatever points, the satisfactory explanation given are taken off, and no outstanding points are available for all the 3 reports which are already on the
Mr. Kamakodi, just allow us to interrupt you because we have paucity of time as well. I just wanted to understand that the article indicates 120 proposals in March 2019 amounting to around 1,583 crores were sanctioned or ratified by the MD and CEO or senior officials just near year end, and this enhances the oversight lapse risk. Can you just put these numbers into perspective for us
Have you heard from the RBI on this? Is this the amount that we're talking about? How do you justify it? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this was the point which was given in the report, and for which also we have already given the satisfactory explanation, and that's why these points are also taken off the let's say report, and all our explanations were accepted. See, most of these let's say sanctions, whatever that is there, are let's say enhancements, short-term enhancements which are given to the existing customers, particularly towards the year end. Say, for example, those who are steel traders, all retail traders and all, who will be getting the year-end offers with their respective, let's say, suppliers and all. So the request and all will be given only towards the, let's say, end of the year, and we have to process those applications in the shorter span of time. And most of these things, there will be preset, let's say parameters and the track record for that and all. And subsequently, those things would have got, like say, most of them, because these things are 3 years, and it's a regular affair, and the seasonal credits, which are
That's the boss's cabin. The canteen is behind.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. And you are here. Good morning. Good morning.
मैम और कोई ऑप्शंस
लाइफ में और कहीं ऑप्शंस मिले ना मिले, मोतीलाल ओसवाल आपको देता है ऑप्शंस ट्रेडिंग में ऑप्शंस। इंट्रोड्यूसिंग मोतीलाल ओसवाल ऑप्शन स्टोर विद अ वाइड रेंज ऑफ ऑप्शंस इन ऑप्शंस ट्रेडिंग। एक्सप्लोर करो ऑप्शन स्टोर ऑन एमओ इन्वेस्टर एंड एमओ ट्रेडर ऐप। डाउनलोड नाउ। इन्वेस्टमेंट इन सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट इज सब्जेक्ट टू मार्केट रिस्क्स। रीड ऑल द रिलेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स केयरफुली बिफोर इन्वेस्टिंग।
The rich and distinct aroma from our freshly roasted coffee beans is magical. We didn't want this magic to escape, so we freeze-dried it. Freeze-dried coffee from Continental. Continental coffee.
मेरी कार का कितना मिल जाएगा?
यस सर, OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
यही कि OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस। ये प्राइस नहीं, सरप्राइज है।
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
Visit olxautos.in now.
स्टार्टअप हैं तो लॉन्ग वर्किंग आवर्स आर नॉर्मल, बट इन्वेस्टिंग दैट डजंट टेक टू लॉन्ग। एंजल वन पर क्विकली इजीली अकाउंट ओपन करो। ये चाय ठंडी होने से पहले यू कैन स्टार्ट इन्वेस्टिंग।
Investments in securities markets are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Welcome back to Halftime Report. Well, the big event to watch, of course, is the 45th Annual General Meeting of Reliance Industries. It will take place this afternoon. Reliance's latest venture has been the new energy business, and all eyes will be on any kind of timelines in terms of project execution. Sonal is here to tell us what the market will be watching out for from the energy business. Sonal.
While the big focus in the AGM is expected to be on the new energy business, company has already completed acquisition and investments to the tune of 5,500 crores so far to build capabilities in the new energy value chain and created multiple subsidiaries last year just for the new energy business. In fact, in the annual report, company focused extensively on the plans in green energy space. Renewable appeared 65 times in the report itself. Company said that India will have the world's most affordable green energy within this decade itself. And over the next 12 months, green energy investments made by Reliance will start going live. And new energy will outshine the existing growth engines in just next 5 to 7 years. So in terms of expectations, more details and potential timelines in terms of execution will be watched out for under various projects, and greater clarity on new energy capex will surprise the market positively. On the oil to chemicals bit, company mentioned how FY22 saw a lot of volatility in the energy market, but Reliance Industries has been able to weather that. So company's strategy in FY23 is something we'll watch out for. Company also spoke about how in this segment particularly, they have been optimizing costs. Additionally, if there is any clarity on either the listing or potential stake sale in the oil to chemicals business is something we'll be watching out for. And lastly, company has plans of decarbonizing the O2C value chain, and the capex plan here will give some more clarity to the investors as well.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks very much for that. That's on oil to chemicals and what we can expect from the RIL AGM. But something which we can touch and feel more is the retail business of Reliance. So, Mangalam, tell us more. What can we expect the management to talk about today?
Well, you know, before we tell you what the management may talk about today, importantly, FY22 as a year was about investment into the future for the retail business, because it was a tough year for the industry as a whole. We were battling through multiple waves of COVID, etc. In that, their revenues grew by about 27%, as did their EBITDA. And the revenues touched nearly 2 lakh crore rupees. They added 1.5 lakh jobs as well. And that is the key headline from the retail business. They crossed a lot of milestones, 15,000 stores, 2,500 stores were added, almost 8 million square feet of retail area, and 75% of them were in tier 2 and beyond cities as well. They doubled their warehouse capacity as well. So, it's time for all these plans that the company is taking to come to the fore and start contributing to growth, and that is what is expected. The biggest of them all was that near 10,000 crore investment that the company did in picking up stakes, be it minority or strategic, in retail and e-commerce companies. Broad range of companies. You had Just Dial, you had 7-Eleven, Milk Basket, a lot of designer wear, Ritu Kumar, Manish Malhotra, Abraham and Thakur, all of them. And they also invested about $200 million in Dunzo. So all of these things will be important to watch out for. As things stand now, Reliance Retail is 56th in the list of top global retailers. And remember, the previous AGM, Chairman Mukesh Ambani had said that it will be among the top 10 retailers in the world in the next 3 to 5 years, and they expect the retail business to grow at least 3 times. So that is exactly what the street is expecting now. Announcements related to the retail digital ecosystem, expansion of retail offerings and synergies between the acquisitions that the company made over the last year or so, and any roadmap on retail value unlocking and the future potential is something that the street will be watching out for.
Okay, and also on the telecom business, right? Everyone's going to be watching out for that launch of 5G services. They have invested big time in the telecom space. So let's go across to Rima now to find out what you can watch from Reliance Jio. Rima.
5G-related announcements are expected to take center stage at the AGM. Remember, Jio spent a whopping 88,000 crores in the recently concluded auctions, twice that of its closest peer, and they even lapped up that expensive 700 megahertz spectrum, which went unsold in the previous auctions. In terms of specifics, expect clarity on the rollout timelines of Jio 5G. The annual report had highlighted how Jio has completed plans for coverage, customer demand for the top 1,000 cities in India to roll out 5G. And its aim, which it outlined in the previous auction, on the previous AGM, was to make India 5G yuked. Now, another point to note is that the AGM is often used as a launchpad for new phone releases. In the last AGM, the company showcased Jio Phone Next, the world's most affordable, full touch screen 4G phone in collaboration with Google. In this AGM, the big question is, will Jio announce the launch of the company's first 5G phone, Jio Phone 5G, or even give an indication that it's working on one, and how affordable will it be? Another event that everyone is watching is a Geo Ipo. Will we get any update on the timelines for an IPO at the upcoming AGM? That will be a big one to watch. Now, Mukesh Ambani has already got the ball rolling when it comes to succession planning by appointing Akash Ambani as the chairman of Reliance Jio Infocom. Now, as we wrap this up and wait for the actual AGM announcement, just want to put into context the size of Jio. The annual operating revenue for Jio platforms crossed $10 billion last year. Jio's network carried 10% of the global mobile data traffic in calendar year 21. Its subscriber base is well over 400 million subscribers. And finally, Jio Fiber, with more than 5 million connected homes, has become the largest fixed broadband provider in India within just 2 years of launch.
All right, Rima, thanks a lot for that. Let's also go across to Nisha Poddar, who's joining in to tell us what to expect from the mega event as a whole.
Let's take a look at the big picture. Now, the AGM has been a big affair for the conglomerate Reliance Industries since time immemorial, and the promoters have often made some high-voltage announcements to its large shareholder base. Now, as a large diversified group, this year is the year of capital expenditure in the new energy business, on which, remember, Mukesh Ambani had made a big bang announcement last year of a whopping $10 billion of investments in 3 years. Now, an update on how much has been committed and what lies ahead will be the key to watch out for. Now, the telecom vertical Geo has been preparing for its 5G rollout plan, especially after the spectrum auctions are over, is an important milestone for the group. And also Geo milestones are important as the company shows signs of steps being taken to prepare for an eventual IPO. Now, the investors in Geo platforms have already been waiting for their value unlocking through a listing. Similar is the case with Reliance Retail with its large investor base. Now, Mukesh Ambani, remember, had announced the IPOs will be done in 5 years in his 2019 AGM, and next 2 years could be quite eventful on the IPO front. Now, big talking point in Reliance Industries is the next gen taking over important executive roles in the group companies. We see the succession plan unfold slowly over the next year. First step, remember, in this direction has already been taken with Akash Ambani taking over as the chairman of Reliance Jio Infocom. Isha Ambani on retail and Anant on energy to follow. Reliance has taken many steps to be viewed as a truly global company, and therefore the aggressive target of being net carbon zero by 2035 is also in the works. Its progress also adds to the premiumization of its equity and perception building on the global stage. So all eyes on Mukesh Ambani's speech at the AGM.
Okay, and a standard disclaimer though, Network 18 and TV18, the companies that operate CNBC-TV18 are controlled by independent media trusts, of which Reliance Industries is the sole beneficiary. Well, at 2 p.m. this afternoon is when the AGM kicks off, and we'll of course give you a minute-by-minute coverage on the same. Let's slip into a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have Jitendra Goyal of Credit Suisse who's going to be joining in to give us his view on the markets.
Sit back and relax while we deliver the optimum blend for your needs. Invest in Sundaram FlexiCap Fund today. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है, पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
मैडम जी, वो सारे पैसे लेके भाग गए और मेरा वड़ा पाव भी ले गए।
दिखाते हैं इनको।
वड़ा पाव? डीलर, निकाल दे इसके बाद।
पंक्चर के बाद भी इससे हवा नहीं निकलेगी, क्योंकि ये है जेके पंक्चर गार्ड टायर, जो कील लगने के बाद भी होता है हीट। जेके पंक्चर गार्ड टायर, अब हवा नहीं निकलेगी।
Hey, I am India's first electric SUV. The rest followed. Once charged, I go the distance. My quiet presence ensures your peace of mind. The 2022 Kona Electric from Hyundai. Go electric, go Hyundai.
Welcome back. Well, it's a weekday for the markets, so good time then to get some market perspective. Jitendra Goyal, who is the head of India Equity Research at Credit Suisse Wealth Management, joins in on the show to discuss the way forward for FY23, given a lot of the volatility that we are seeing. Jitendra, hi, welcome to the show. Well, you join us on a tough day. We have a stronger dollar, rupee at 80 and a hawkish Fed. Does that change your approach towards the markets?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for inviting me on your show. So first of all, we have been a little more constructive on the market. We think India is in a sweet spot, and we are not very much perturbed by the kind of rally that we have seen in the Indian equity market as a whole. We think that the earnings outlook is more important for India, and for that we closely track the macro environment, where we think that the macro indicators are looking decent. Credit growth is picking up. We think there could be minor cuts to Nifty EPS, but we are not very much bearish on earnings outlook, despite expecting some kind of slowdown in global GDP growth. So I think India's growth should remain strong, and we are focusing on upcoming festive season, where we think the outlook for India is going to be a little strong going ahead into the festive season, as we think inventory restocking, and plus inflation is peaking in India, and I think that is the thing that we are closely watching for. So we think overall, yes, in the near term, global environment is extremely weak, so we might see more correction, but from a 6 to 9 months perspective, we continue to remain positive on Indian equities.
Okay, and in your report, Jitendra, you say that any sharp correction should be a buying opportunity, and you have overweight positions in mid-cap companies as part of your portfolio. So what are these mid-cap names that you like? Which are the themes that you prefer right now?
Hi, Sonia. So first of all, mid-caps, we think, the major problem for Indian equity, we feel, is the valuation premium, right? So we look at valuation premium versus emerging markets, where India's valuation premium is around over 90%, and average is 45 to 50%. So naturally, the foreign funds, FPIs, look at these metric, and in that bargain, India looks expensive from a relative to Asian economies. But if you look at domestic economy, which is represented by mostly the mid-cap names, we think that there we are pretty much positive the way macro environment is picking up. And most of these structural themes that we identify at our wealth management platform, we look at largely the structural themes evolving in India, and where we think export-led sectors, which are getting a good push from the government, PLI-led sectors, that can do well. We have been extremely positive on chemical names, which are doing pretty good for us. We are also positive on consumption and bearish on IT. So that call we took sometime in the month of March, where we went underweight on IT and overweight on FMCG, and we still hold this view. And we think that the consumption sector is seeing a patchy recovery, but overall we think that consumption sector should do well over the next 3 months perspective. And from a mid-cap perspective, there are other sectors such as defense, where we are positive from a medium-term perspective.
Take your point, and boy, you would have gotten right and how on your IT versus FMCG theme. You would have outperformed by almost 40%. If you just take a look at it in terms of the way these indices have moved this year itself. But final question then, your thoughts on the auto space. That has been an outperformer. You did mention about the sectors that you liked. You did mention about a couple of these chemical names, etc. But autos was conspicuous by its absence in your commentary.
Yeah, I think consumption, I also meant autos, and we like auto ancillaries, which are linked to domestic. Remember, we are not positive on global growth or companies, auto companies that are exposed to global environment, especially in Europe and China. But we look at the domestic auto companies and the domestic auto ancillary, and where we are extremely positive, whether it's glass companies or it is auto anks into wiring business. So we think that auto ancillaries are also looking pretty strong in the next 3 to 6 months perspective.
I wanted your thoughts on other asset classes like gold as well, because in your report you mentioned that the risk reward appears well balanced for gold right now. Is it purely because of the fact that we could be heading into a recession in the US and risky assets like equities may take a back seat? And if one invests in gold right now, what kind of returns do you expect?
So we are neutral on gold. Basically, when you look at gold as an investment vehicle, you look at inflation and currency. So inflation is going to remain elevated. So gold protects on that front. But on the other hand, even dollar is strengthening. So that negates or that neutralizes the tailwind that gold has from inflationary perspective, and hence we remain largely neutral on gold, despite we expect that the inflation environment is going to remain elevated globally. But since the dollar is strengthening, I think it's better to be neutral. So from a portfolio and a wealth management perspective, we recommend gold to have around 5% and not extremely overweight on gold as such. It will provide a good diversification for your portfolios. And in case if recession is deep and Fed had to take a U-turn, then probably gold will start to do well. But so far, our global investment committee remains neutral on gold. But on the other hand, we also have to look at INR, which has been depreciating, and hence we think that from a domestic perspective, around 5% allocation to gold is warranted.
Okay, all right, Jitendra, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. So there is some amount of respite which is coming on the dollar rupee or the rupee dollar on an intraday basis, but still breached that 80 mark. We'll take a short break. On the other side, Ankur Patni, who's the Executive Director of Iron Exchange, will join in for a business outlook. Stay tuned.
आ गई।
मम्मा और कोई ऑप्शन है क्या?
मम्मा लाइफ में और कहीं ऑप्शंस मिले ना मिले, मोतीलाल ओसवाल आपको देता है ऑप्शंस ट्रेडिंग में ऑप्शंस। इंट्रोड्यूसिंग मोतीलाल ओसवाल ऑप्शन स्टोर विद अ वाइड रेंज ऑफ ऑप्शंस इन ऑप्शंस ट्रेडिंग। एक्सप्लोर करो ऑप्शन स्टोर ऑन एमओ इन्वेस्टर एंड एमओ ट्रेडर ऐप। डाउनलोड नाउ। Investment in securities market is subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
अबे, मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं बचाया। बचाया ना। सिस्का BLDC फैंस ने 60% पावर बचाया, पैसे बचाए, प्लैनेट बचाया। BLDC मोटर, मोर सेविंग्स, मोर पावरफुल, मोर इको फ्रेंडली। अबे तुम बचाओ। सिस्का फैंस, लाइट ईयर्स अहेड।
सिस्का।
नहीं मूर्ति, कोई फायदा नहीं अब। मूर्ति, कोई जरूरत नहीं भाई।
नई कार खरीदने से पहले एको इंश्योरेंस कंपनी चेक करे और 50,000 तक बचाए।
Welcome back. Ankur Patni, who's the Executive Director at Iron Exchange, joins us now to discuss an outlook on their business. Now, Iron Exchange is a company that is into water and wastewater treatment and environment solutions. In Q1, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, there was a big dip actually in their earnings. The revenues were down about 23% compared to the preceding quarter, and EBITDA was also down about 65%. Let's find out. Ankur, thanks a lot for joining in. I wanted to ask you about your order book. I think you have about 8,000 crores as far as your order bid pipeline goes. What is the split between international and domestic, and what is the outlook for FY23?
Good afternoon. You mentioned about the dip in the overall numbers compared to the March quarter. Typically, the March quarter is the biggest quarter that we have, and it's a scenario which you'll see repeated year after year. The first quarter is one of the smallest quarters, and thereafter, as we go through the year, the numbers keep rising. That's just to provide a perspective of how the numbers move for the company. The bid pipeline is extremely strong at the moment, and so is the order book. Our current order books are at their highest levels ever, currently standing just shy of 3,000 crores. Out of this, roughly around 20% would be in exports, and the rest would be domestic.
Ankur, can you give us a sense of what's the amount that is pending from projects that you had undertaken in Sri Lanka? How long before you write them off completely, or is there any hope of you recovering them?
Though we don't have any significant credit risk there, the amount which we receive on account of the Sri Lanka contract comes from Exim Bank, and we have greatly slowed down the pace of execution in consultation with Exim Bank, and as such, the receivables there are not a matter of concern.
Okay, similarly, Ankur, you get around 30% of your business from exports. You've addressed Sri Lanka. The other point of concern has definitely been Europe, especially with the gas supply situation currently. Has that impacted business at all for you?
The exports have certainly got impacted a little bit. We are seeing a small stress there. The logistic issues, as well as the not just the cost of the logistics, but also container availability, that was affecting our performance in the export markets. At least the logistic issues seem to be now becoming better, and we are looking at relatively improved position as far as the export market is concerned. I am quite hopeful by the end of the year we will report good numbers on export front.
Can you tell us what those numbers could be on an average? What are you looking at in terms of growth for exports?
As of date, we are looking at a strain. I think we will be at par by the end of the first half, showing slight improvement in consumables, but a good improvement coming in on engineering front, which would result probably in a slight growth as we end the first half of the year. By the end of the second half, we should be depositing a good growth.
Gained some traction in the consumer segment where you have achieved break-even out here. What's the revenue potential for this segment in FY23 and chemicals as well? You were waiting for an environmental clearance for a plant of yours. When does that come? And what does it mean in FY23 for your chemical segment? So your consumer segment and your chemical segment. Can you provide us with some outlook there?
Consumer segment is showing very good growth numbers. As we speak, we are expecting growth from this segment upward of 50-60% for the year. As far as the chemical segment is concerned, there also the growth numbers are looking interesting. We should be, by the end of the year, we should be looking at roughly around a 30% growth there.
Okay, just on that chemicals segment, you get around, I think, 35% of your business from that particular segment. You have indicated that it was tough to pass on the price increases. So tell us what the situation is currently. How much have you managed to pass on? How much do you need to pass on? And what is the impact on margins that we can expect?
It takes a little bit time for the price impacts to be passed on to the customers. And we had seen, a period where the prices were just going up continuously, and each price revision, had to be followed by another one. The situation has stabilized a little bit over the past few weeks, and we are seeing now that the margins are coming back towards what we expect to be normal. Going forward, we expect the margins to continue improving to the end of the year, and we should be able to report overall numbers as far as percentage margins are concerned, which would be better than what we reported last year end.
Sorry, how does that work? I mean, what would you're looking at double-digit margins or better than that? If you can give us some numbers.
Yes, we are looking at so the chemical division, the chemical segment gives us gives us a very good margin overall, and the improvement which we will see by the end of the year would be getting us a little bit more towards the FY21 number, where we reported roughly around 24.5% and thereabouts. So we should be improving from the FY22 number of somewhere around 21.5 and moving towards the FY 2021 number of roughly around 23.5 thereabouts.
At 200 basis points margin improvement, what would be the revenue growth? That's point number one. And secondly, finally, before we let you go, you've also filed for a patent, a mineralizer media for producing alkaline water and hydrogen water, for which you are expected to hear by, I presume, October, November sometime from the patent office. If you are given that patent, how big could things be for you in this business that you're looking for?
We are, looking at, I'm answering the first question, we are looking at roughly around 30% growth as far as the chemical business is concerned. And that's the margin numbers which I spoke about. For the overall company, we should be looking at roughly around a 40% growth. Probably more than that, but we'll get better visibility after the first half is over, and I should be able to come back to you with slightly more aggressive projections. But as of today, it looks like 40%. The patent which you spoke about is to do with the consumer segment. We are already seeing very good traction for the relevant product here. We expect this to add significantly to the growth of the consumer segment.
Okay, an overall 40% revenue growth in FY23 and a 200 basis points margin expansion. That is some aggressive target. All the best for the business. Thanks a lot for joining in and have a great day. Well, that's Iron Exchange with their view on the overall business. Let's slip into a short break. Lots more coming up on the other side of the break. We'll focus on an unusual mover as well. Stay tuned.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
तुझे तगड़ा इंसेंटिव मिला है, क्या प्लान है?
सोच रहा हूँ गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज में इन्वेस्ट करूँ।
बिल्कुल सही सोच रहे हैं आप। अब गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज में इन्वेस्ट करना आसान हो गया है।
पर कैसे?
आरबीआई रिटेल डायरेक्ट स्कीम में बिना ब्रोकर के आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं और आपको आपकी पूंजी पर मिलेंगे रिटर्न्स। आरबीआई पोर्टल पर जाइए, मुफ्त में अकाउंट खोलिए और अपने बैंक खाते से सीधे पैसे इन्वेस्ट कीजिए। सुरक्षित, आसान।
रिटायरमेंट के बाद मैं भी यही इन्वेस्ट करूँ।
बहुत सही कह रहे हैं आप। आरबीआई कहता है
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए। हमारी कार कितने में निकलेगी?
सर ये वाह, यस सर, OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस। सुनीता, सुना तुमने ये क्या बोल रहे हैं?
यही कि OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
बाबूजी सुना आपने? सुनीता क्या बोल रही है?
ये सब यही बोल रहे हैं कि ये प्राइस ही नहीं सरप्राइज है। विजिट olxautos.in।
I always go for it। आप भी जरूर ट्राई कीजिए। Toodles guys। Good recommendations are helpful ना? They surely help me while investing with Angel One। आखिर influencers को भी तो जरूरत है smart recommendations की।
Investments in securities markets are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Welcome back. We're talking about an unusual mover. Now, today, the overall theme of the market is on the lower side with 2,000 stocks declining. But the FMCG pack is doing well. And in that, we have one stock which is doing even better. And the stock that we're talking about is Colgate. Remember, by the start of the next month, which is the 1st of September, we have a new leader coming into Colgate, Prabha Narasimhan. The announcement was made back a couple of quarters ago. And now you have the date from which she takes over the company as the MD and CEO. She's been at HUL for the last 15 years, responsible for growing their personal care vertical, and as a result of which the street has hopes on her turning around this business at Colgate as well, which has been slow in terms of its performance and has been losing out market share as well. That has reflected in the way the stock price has moved as well in just the last 12 months. While the FMCG index has rallied about 10%, we have Colgate, which has declined by about 1%. So it's undoing some of its underperformance ahead of the new leader joining in. In terms of valuation, there is a fair amount of headroom as well. 35 times FY24 earnings is at a discount to the sector. And we've seen a lot of the FMCG companies see a turnaround in their business with regards to, the new leadership joining in. So maybe ahead of, Prabha Narasimhan joining in, some on the street are taking some bets on Colgate. So that explains why that stock is an unusual mover in today's trading session. But what's not unusual is the kind of recovery that we're seeing from the lows in the market, 17,300 on the Nifty. That's all the time that we have on this edition of Halftime Report.
ದಹಿವಡ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಉತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಉತ್ತಪ್ಪ